Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the official college football AP poll update video here for week number 4. So we are through 4 weeks. Many of these teams have already had their first bye, so a lot of these teams only have played 3 games. But this is the official update. You do have the Ohio State Buckeyes. Not unanimous, but nearly unanimous. The number 1 team in the country did not play last week. They do play Washington this week, and it's only about a 10-point spread. Going to be an interesting game. Washington looks very, very good this year. Ohio State does have that week 1 win over Texas. Texas possibly riding the ship against Sam Houston, covering a spread in that game. The Buckeyes coming in at number 152 of the first place votes. You do have Miami moving up 2 spots. Very impressive, dominant win over Florida. At this point, Florida, they're in no man's land. Billy Napier is gone. They are at 1-3. And so for Miami, is it really that big of a win? Well, they were 7.5-point favorites. They win that game by 19 points. It's pretty impressive. It's a nice defensive performance, although DJ Lagway has struggled this year. There's no doubt about it. They do have a few good wins. They've got the Notre Dame win in week 1. Notre Dame, I think they're very good, even though they are 1-2. They've got the win over South Florida. South Florida, not ranked, but they did crush South Florida, and then they beat Florida. So Miami, we'll see what happens. In terms of them being the number 1 team in the nation, I guess you could make an argument, but I do think Ohio State is more complete and just better overall. And also, there is going to be the prior history of the Buckeyes winning the national title last year. They returned Caleb Downs, Jeremiah Smith, you understand. So that's kind of why you've got 52 first place votes for the Buckeyes, 7 for Miami. And also Ohio State did beat Texas, who is still an undefeated team, even though they faced nobody. Or I guess Texas is not an undefeated team because they lost to Ohio State. But outside of Ohio State, they are 3-1. So you do have Penn State sitting at number 3, down 1 spot. They had a bye. Penn State has not been very impressive in their 3 games. They had a horrible non-conference schedule. They face Oregon at home this week. So there it is. And we'll see how good Penn State is. But they're at number 3 right now. LSU at number 4, they're down 1 spot. They beat Southeastern Louisiana 56-10. Really haven't been all that impressed with LSU. People really slurped them up after they beat Clemson. Well, now Clemson is 1-3. That's not that great of a win for LSU. And the SEC is such a gauntlet. We'll know how good LSU is within a few weeks. They face Ole Miss on the road this upcoming week, so we're going to know. And it's going to come quickly. I think LSU's offense, it's just concerning in terms of the lack of skill position playmakers that for LSU in terms of just not really being able to generate huge plays, even against bad opponents. I mean, you beat an FCS team by 46. That's fine, I guess. You've got Georgia at number 5. They were off. They face Alabama this week. You've got Oregon at number 6. They stay the same. They won 41-7 over Oregon State. Kind of a look-ahead week. They've got Penn State this next week. Tough for Oregon. So they've got Oregon State, then they travel East Coast to Penn State, whiteout, and Penn State is coming off a bye. So a bit of an advantage for Penn State. There's no doubt about it with that game being a whiteout at home and Oregon playing the week prior as to them having a bye week. So we'll see with Oregon. They're about 3-point underdogs to Penn State. But Oregon, they are still the number 1 team analytically, according to the FPI, because they annihilated Oklahoma State's, like they destroyed them in such a way. They got like so many analytical points. It's crazy. You've got Oklahoma up 4 spots. They won 24-17. A lot of people complaining about the officiating in this game, a number of problems. I'll be honest, Oklahoma was not impressive. I'm not a big fan of Auburn. I don't think Auburn's that good of a team. Auburn, based on their schedule, is probably going to go 7-5. And so for Oklahoma to barely win this game, they were up 22-17. They got a garbage time safety late. Kind of a weird game. It like turned really dark. I don't know if anyone else realized that. I mean, it was like the clouds were crazy within this game in the second half, like how overcast it was. But Oklahoma just doesn't have the skill position playmakers to go 10-2 in the SEC. It's just not going to happen. I think Oklahoma, best case, is a 9-3 team. They've got a good defense. They had 10 sacks against Auburn, but even 10 sacks, they were winning that game by 5 points late in it. They don't have the offensive talent. Mateer, he's their entire offense. They have no running game. They have no running backs, at least right now. Maybe they can improve. There's too many holes for Oklahoma at this point. At number 8, you've got Florida State. They're down 1 spot. They destroyed Kent State. Kent State's a de facto FCS team. They did cover the spread, though. They were only 44-point favorites. They won by 56. I think Florida State's going to have a big problem at Virginia. I think they might lose to Virginia, honestly. I think people are way overrating Florida State. This is a team that lost 10 games last year. They just don't have, I mean, Castellanos, even against week one against Alabama, they ran the ball like 50 times. It was like a fluke win to me. That was a fluke win. People way overrate week one. Alabama got ambushed on the road in a raucous environment week one. People, they were obsessed with Florida State. They still are. They were obsessed with LSU. Now they're starting to come off of LSU because Clemson is 1-3. But Florida State, I'm not seeing it. And look, they could be number 8. That's fine. I would have them lower. I would have them below Alabama. Honestly, I would. I'm not kidding, because I can see these teams. I know how good they are. And you get ambushed in week one. To me, it's a fluke. So Florida State's at number 8. A&M's at number 9. That's just an average SEC team, A&M. Texas at number 10. Wow, they moved down 2 spots. They actually covered a spread 55-0. Indiana at number 11. I like this Indiana team a lot. This Indiana team is better than the team they had last year. The offense, the receivers, the running back, Mendoza, Cignetti. I mean, he's a good coach. I mean, but he needs to get a big win. I don't really consider Illinois a good team. I said Illinois was overranked. I'm I said there's no way they should be inside the top 10. They lose by 53 points. So it's a solid win for Indiana, but it's also Illinois had no business being inside of the top 10. Texas Tech moves up to number 12. I watched that game. I thought Texas Tech was really undisciplined. They had like 9 first half penalties. I mean, this is Big 12 slot football. It's a solid win. But listen, we'll see. I'm not really buying Texas Tech, honestly. Ole Miss at number 13. They crushed Tulane. It's a solid win. They easily cover that spread. Their young quarterback Simmons, doesn't play. So we'll have to see with Ole Miss. But Ole Miss faces LSU at home this week. There's a huge opportunity. They beat LSU at home in terms of their resume. They're probably a top 5 team in college football. Next week, they're 1-point underdogs in that game, so they're going to have a chance to really move up the rankings. You've got Iowa State at number 14. I'm not buying Iowa State at all. You've got Tennessee at number 15. They beat UAB. Kind of concerning, Tennessee. The defense was not good. And some of it's garbage time. But you allow UAB like 400 yards of offense. That's a problem. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter if it's some of it's garbage time or what. That is an issue. You're allowing a team like that 400 yards of offense. That tells me there are some problems with Tennessee's defense. And we saw him with Gunnar Stockton and what he did against Tennessee late in that game. But, I mean, look, Tennessee, it's an easy win. You don't really want to punish them too much. They have 1 loss, and it was to a team inside of the top 5. So they're at number 15. Georgia Tech at number 16. They beat Temple by 21. I don't think they covered in that game, but yeah, they're there at number 16. That's fine. Alabama down 3 spots. I think it's a byproduct of teams moving up in front of Alabama. They had a bye week, and now they've got a game at Georgia. Going to be tough for them. They already have 1 loss. Vanderbilt up 2 spots. They crushed Georgia State. 70-21. They lost to Georgia State last year, so we'll see with Vandy. I know Vandy faces Alabama on the road in a few weeks. Michigan up 2 spots. I thought Michigan played very well. This score is not indicative of the domination. Offensive line, defensive line, Michigan dominated Nebraska. Nebraska got a Hail Mary. Then they scored a late touchdown when the game was kind of already over. They just had to recover an onside kick. Michigan did. The game could have been like 30-13 very easily. That was a domination in terms of the offensive line and defensive lines of Michigan just dominating Nebraska. And Michigan, really, they still struggle to throw. They still struggle to throw with Underwood being young and them not having, very good receivers. But you've got Missouri up 3 spots. They beat South Carolina by 9. Lenora Sellers did play in this game. It looked like South Carolina was competitive. They were up 14-12. We'll see with Missouri. USC up 4 spots. Yeah, USC's a good team. They beat Michigan State. They should have covered in that game. This is disappointing. I mean, USC had like 400 yards of offense in the first half. They were only up by like 14. It was shocking. USC should have been like 28 at halftime in this game, but like Michigan State's not that good of a team. We know that. They almost they didn't almost lose to Youngstown State, but it was a game. Notre Dame beat Purdue by 26 points, 56-30. So Notre Dame, the offense continues to struggle, the defense continues to struggle. Their secondary outside of Leonard Moore, it's not good. But Notre Dame offensively, the running backs, Price and Love, CJ Carr looks good. It's an interesting Notre Dame team. They're up 2 spots. I'd have Notre Dame inside of my top 15. I would. Illinois still ranked, down 14 spots. Illinois has got to be unranked. I'm sorry. You can't lose by 53 points, especially with Illinois' resume. They haven't beaten a single good team. I mean, they beat Duke, and that was even a misleading game. So, yeah, I think Illinois has got to be knocked off. We'll see that they've got USC at home. So if they beat USC, that's fine. That's a good win for them. They can be ranked. That's if they win. But it's one of those to where if they lose to USC, which they're underdogs, they're going to be knocked out. They're going to be knocked out. TCU enters the top 25. Pretty nice win against SMU, covering the, 6.5 point spread. They won by 11. They've had a solid start to their year. TCU has. BYU, another Big 12 team, enters. They beat East Carolina on the road, traveling to East Carolina by 21. They won that game. So BYU enters as well. You've got Auburn leaving the top 25. I'm sure people are going to be upset with that because of the officiating. Mississippi State, Mississippi State was struggling with Northern Illinois early, and I don't think Mississippi State's that good. I know they're 4-0, I get it, but South Florida, Utah, their offense was anemic. Their offense was terrible against Texas Tech. Arizona State, boy, it's a lot of these Big 12 teams, just mosh pit Big 12 teams, just a cluster. Memphis beat Arkansas. They got lucky in that game. I think Arkansas should have won that game. But it was a fumble. I mean, it's a legit fumble. But they had 2nd and 1 at the 6-yard line. They were down by 1 point. So they could have kicked a chip shot field goal to go ahead. Or they were going to score a touchdown and then go for 2. But they lost 32-31. Louisville. I don't think Louisville's faced a good team yet. Maryland getting some love. Well, they did crush Wisconsin on the road. UNLV is not a good team. UNLV almost lost to Miami of Ohio. Yeah, we got to stop with UNLV. People thinking they're going to make the playoff. UCF and then North Texas. So this is what I'll say. I think Illinois should be unranked. I think Notre Dame should be top 15. I think USC probably should be top 10. These teams are fine where they are. I think Bama should still be at least top 12. These teams are fine where they are. I think Iowa State should be lower. Texas Tech should probably be around 15. Yeah, Indiana's fine where they are, I guess. I would have A&M lower. I would have Texas has just struggled. You just can't. I don't know what you do with Texas. I guess you leave them. At 10. Florida State, yeah, you got to give them credit. They did beat Alabama. You give them credit. I think they're going to lose to Virginia, honestly. Virginia's a good team. That's the thing with Virginia. People are underestimating Virginia. This Oklahoma team is overranked. Severely overranked. Because think about this game against Auburn. I don't even like Auburn that much. And people, they got screwed by the refs and Oklahoma. There's just not enough elite skill position talent for Oklahoma to do anything in the SEC. Now, they've got a really good defense. They've got a very good defense. That's fine. They're going to go 9-3. I think best case scenario, Oklahoma goes I guess best case would be 10-2 because you could beat Texas. They could still beat Texas because Texas is struggling. I mean, they're ranked above Texas, but I think Texas versus Oklahoma, Texas is going to be like a 5-point favorite on neutral field. Oregon, you can make the argument Oregon should be higher, but it's like they don't have the win to justify it. Beating Oregon State, beating Oklahoma State, these are not good teams. Georgia beat Tennessee on the road. That's a really good win. They did kind of struggle with an FCS team. LSU, they've got the win over Clemson, although it's not good anymore. This is the thing with week 1. You get this so-called big win, and then the team is, what is Clemson going to go this year? 7-5, best case scenario at this point. Maybe they'll turn it around. They've got the talent to, and they're in the ACC. It's a bad conference, but I don't know. Penn State probably should be lower, honestly. They should. I mean, that is preseason baked into it. I get it because it's still early in the season. But realistically, Oregon should be above Penn State. There's no doubt. LSU should probably be above Penn State. Georgia should be above. Penn State should probably be number 6 right now. Miami at number 2. You could argue Miami should be in front of Ohio State. You could argue it because obviously Miami in terms of overall schedule. Now Ohio State I think has faced the tougher opponent. I think Texas is better than any team on Miami's schedule so far. But you beat Florida. Florida's still a I mean, they're 1-3 now. They're still a decent, I mean, they're still better than the other teams that Ohio State faced. South Florida, Notre Dame. But I mean, the problem with Notre Dame is one loss away from just being completely gone. And so how good of a win is that really for Miami? But then for Ohio State, your big win against Texas might get invalidated if Texas lays an egg against Oklahoma or lays an egg. I think Texas has another easy SEC schedule. So I don't know. We'll see. I think Ohio State probably will just, it'll be interesting to see if Georgia beats Bama. Would they jump Georgia to number 1? I don't think they would. Well, I don't know. It'll depend on how Ohio State plays against Washington. But Washington has been really good this year. I'm actually disappointed to see nobody vote Washington out of these votes down here inside the top 25. I'd have to see their FPI rank and things like that, but Washington has been really good. And they face bad teams, don't get me wrong. But they've got an interesting dual threat quarterback, and that's who Ohio State faces on the road. Miami, I think Miami might have a bye week or something, I don't know. But either way, guys, that's just the update. That's going to do it for this video. Make sure you like the video down below. Also follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.